This is great. We have Darren Mulligan from We Are Messengers. That was a lot. That was a big intro. I understand that. For that response.
I thought it might have been Conor McGregor. You were introing.
So I have to ask you this. Okay, I have a new segment on the show called First Question. And this is where I attempt to ask the first question that everyone else is thinking, but they don't want to ask. And so here is the first question for Darren from We Are Messengers. Why did you, Darren, get kicked out of the United States?
I didn't get kicked out of the United States. I actually became a citizen of the United States.
Did you really?
My friend, I'm as American as you are today, Wally.
And then, But then you just moved back to Ireland.
Yes, shortly after.
But you did all that studying for nothing.
No. I passed the test. They're going to let me stay. But we moved home, and I counted a real honor to be an American and an Irishman.
Do you have dual citizenship?
I do, yeah. Me and my wife, yeah. I'm one of my sons because he was born here.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and so the other ones we're going to work on. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess you can't spend 9 years here and not become a part of this community.
Sure,
I have done. But
you learned the language, which I was impressed by. Still can't understand half the things you say.
You're talking about Christianese. I did learn that.
Yeah. Sadly, you're right.
I've been trying to re-educate myself.
Is that why you left?
That's
Is that why you went back?
To learn to speak English again.
Yeah. So why did you go back to Ireland? Why'd you go back home?
I wanted to be around my mum and dad as they get older, nieces, nephews. I wanted my kids to grow up living really ordinary lives. As much as I love this country, the draw to be around our community and our church community at home was really, really strong. And I feel really privileged, Wally. I've known you for so many years, and you've seen me at my best and at my worst. You've seen me homesick. You've seen me caught in mental health and sin and all kinds of things. And we're in a really sweet place in our lives where we get to live in the place with the people we love the most. And we get to come back to America and all across the world and do the thing we love to do, which is sharing Jesus. And America has made that possible for me and my family.
Well, it makes it harder for you, though, too. In my life, anything good has a price associated with it. So if you go home because you want to have this good life for your family, it does make it harder on you personally to come back here to tour and do the things. So do you come back and stay longer so you're not having to jump back and forth as much?
Well, actually, we switched that all up, too. What we do is we have cut our touring back. We used to be gone about 30 weeks in the year. Now, you might be only Monday to Thursday for 30 weeks, but we've cut that back now to being gone 16 weeks, but doing the same amount of shows.
Oh.
So when we come here, we work incredibly hard. I got sick and tired of asking our crew and our production and our band and team to follow me around the world, chasing my dreams at the expense of their families.
Sure.
And I decided we were going to set it up in a way that would allow them to be home more than any other artist in the industry. And that's what's happened. And it's been I had some people tell me, well, your career is going to suffer and it's going to be the death knell and that's going to be the end of it. Everything we've done has gone through the roof. And I'm sitting in the woods in Ireland, cutting firewood, playing with my kids. We got 9 rabbits, a dog, 4 children.
Well, when you start off and you prioritize the things that are important and maybe even the things that you felt God was telling you, hey, you need to slow down, there's no way it's not going to work better.
Yeah, but you have that fear,
Sure.
Not keeping up, not being present, not doing what everyone else is doing. And when you look at the gospel, that is the antithesis of walking with Jesus. And so I've been walking with Jesus. I've been praying, I've been reading, I've been disciplined. Dude, I've learned how to laugh again.
Okay. This brings up a real good point because you are, and I don't want you to take any of this as an insult, but okay, so that's always the best way to start a question,
there's an insult about to come.
No, it's not. No, like I've always known you as kind of a surly guy. I'm a surly guy. I'm prickly, and I love that, and I love you for that. But your album is where the joy is, and again, I don't mean this as an insult, but I might could say, well, is that off-brand for you?
And there was the insult.
That's the insult.
It took about 60 seconds to set up, but I appreciate it.
We got there. No, but are you in a different place then? And are you finding joy?
I'm in a totally different place than I was probably 2-3 years ago. I think about 3 years ago, I got really sick and tired of everything. We did the Wholehearted album, and I haven't really talked openly about this, but for me, that was the last album we were ever going to do. I had already made up my mind that I was stopping music. I was moving home. I was going to start to follow the Lord, or in a real, ordinary, beautiful way. And I thought the Lord needed me to leave that, to leave all of this, to do that.
Sure.
And it turns out that's not what he needed at all. He just needed me to really start walking with him. And by walking with him, I'm trying to avoid the Christianese, trying to live like him, trying to laugh like him, trying to hope like him, being really disciplined, as in putting my cycles of sin away and choosing Jesus. And what happened along that, Wally, was every promise he made me about turning my mourning to laughter, my sorrow to joy, my feet towards dancing, it all started to creep in. And it's culminated in this really strange sense of peace that I have. I don't want to sound all Buddha on you, but like in the dead of night when the monsters come, you know the monsters I'm talking about,
Yeah.
I'm okay. You know, we used to sing Maybe It's Okay, and I would cry my way through it most nights for the last many years. And now I laugh through it, I smile through it. And at the end I tell the audience, hey, no matter where you are, if you're in depression or anxiety or suicidal ideation, I'm living proof that God can take that and he can transform that and he can bring you somewhere different this side of heaven. I always thought joy was for, people downstairs.
For other people.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But I see it in you too.
Yeah.
See the way you're even laughing? There's a heartedness to how you're laughing that's very different, Wally. So you might be a bit prickly, and I may still be a bit prickly, right? I might be a bit grumpy every now and then.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I have this thing in me. I'm full. I'm satisfied. There's nothing America or touring and across the world can give me that I don't have in Jesus. I got a good-looking blonde woman. I got a good God. Got an incredible family. And I got a wonderful chance to play music for the people I love. I've got everything I need.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I always worried about, like, in what I do, like, comedic or whatever, a lot of times it comes from pain and it comes from cynicism and things like that. And so I always worried, if I get happy, what happens to all that?
Do I lose the edge?
Yeah, do I become someone I'm not, and then I become like like all the Christian movies or like Christian comedians and things, and I'm like, I fear that, you know?
Well, this is why I love you. Even in that one sentence you just dissed about a third of our industry.
Well, I'm in good company.
You are. No, I think the edge is actually sharper. Like, it's not that when you have joy you can't feel searing, pain or loss or anger or all those emotions. It gives you a filter to apply kindness to and grace to. And you stop wanting what other men have in their field.
Right.
That's the thing, dude. I don't need what anyone else has. I'm just so grateful for what I have in the Lord. And I realized I was trying to sabotage my life. I was trying to sabotage my career. At our worst, me and you, when our cynicism does become painful and jarring and hurtful, that's an attempt to sabotage everything. It's an attempt to get away.
Right.
And there's a better way of doing it. And that's going for a walk with Jesus.
See, I'm my biggest fan and my own worst enemy. I'm both of those things all wrapped up in one, And so like I get all of that, and it's hard. Because for me, I felt like I had to choose joy a lot of days. Like it was a conscious choice. And you've talked about 100%. Your anxiety and things like that and mental struggles. And so like, here's the deal. I love when you come here because I'm not paying for a therapist, but when you come here, it's like, I'm like, cause you're that way. When you talk about God, like I gotta say it like you say it. When you talk about God, you feel your faith. People around you feel your faith and your intensity in it. And so for me, it's healing. So I love having you here. I'm sorry you moved.
Hey, Wally, I will say this to you, and I've said this to you off camera. I see that in you, and I see past, the goofiness, and those things that we do in the hopes that maybe we'll be accepted or liked, whatever.
Sure.
And I see a really decent man who has loved this community, this city really well, who's loving his family really well. You're a good man.
Appreciate that.
Wally. And the intensity that I have has changed to truly wanting like you to thrive and the people around me to thrive.
Yeah.
And that happens when you don't want what they have anymore.
When it's not comparative. No. Like I found myself driving the other day, and for the first time in a long time, I'm gonna choke up here for a second. Why do you do this to me, Darren? But like driving and like not having this angst and this competition and all of the battles that are fighting in my head. Yeah. And I was driving and I just felt peace. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. That's happy.
Hey.
Like that's what joy is. That's the thing that eludes me so many times.
But notice what happened there, right? I was talking to a lassie the other day about joy, right? And my joy is hard fought for. Your joy is hard fought for. You can't find joy without great suffering. It just doesn't happen like that. The American dream doesn't lead to joy.
Yeah, it's true.
Suffering, perseverance, character, hope, joy. But the lassie said to me, she said, I've been fighting so hard to have joy, but I can't fight anymore. And I said, hey, did the sun rise this morning? And the lassie said, the lady said, let's just do lady in case I'm offending all of America. The lady said...
But you say it with an accent, you get away with well, it. I can't say it.
Sometimes. And the lady said, yes, it rose. And I said, did you tell it to rise? And she said, no, I didn't. I said, okay. So sorrow comes in the evening and joy comes in the morning. Do you have to tell joy to come in the morning? No. As sure as the sun rises and is a gift from God, joy will come in the morning because that too is a gift and a promise for God. Can't be earned, can't be worked for. One day, men and women, we wake up and if we're open to God and we're open to walking and following and being obedient, joy comes. You wake up, it's sitting in the corner of the room and then you can't escape it.
Yeah.
Because once you've seen joy, everything else feels cheap and silly, you know?
It's interesting because... as a joke, when Betty Rock came into work today, I had that song by Forrest Frank, I'm about to have a good day, no matter what they say. And I was just kind of playing it just like to be like, hey, it's a good day, it's a good morning. She's like, why are you playing that? And I'm like, I just thought it would be funny to play this, it's a good day. She's like, well, why wouldn't it be a good day? I'm like, oh, to live in your world for a hot second. Like for her, a good day was the starting point. For me, like everything is bad until it becomes a good day,
No, here, Wally, and I can totally understand that. Like I woke up this morning, lying in a hotel room far from my family, the haunting loneliness crept in for a moment. I get that. But joy, there's a lyric that says, joy is not a place, it's a disposition. And a grateful heart doesn't need convincing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So if I'm grateful, thankful, that joy again is there. It's present. It's the presence of God, Wally.
Yeah.
What it is
God.
we run it. Oh, God. You're a bad man.
I know.
We run around our whole lives talking about Jesus, singing about Jesus, but not really wanting to encounter Jesus.
Yeah.
And I have found that I have encountered Jesus in the most ordinary places in the last few years that have been extraordinary. Yes, stages are cool and awards are cool and all that stuff. But Jesus is in this ordinary conversations with ordinary men trying to do the best they can.
Yeah.
That's where the joy is.
Well, I think that's why I connected with you and liked you from the very first time that I met you, because even in the mess and in the struggle, I always knew from you, your whole intention was to get closer to God, regardless of what's going on. That was always your thing. Your thing was never with me, like, I never got the sense that, I'm trying to get this next award and I need people to like me and stuff. Like, it was always like, I'm trying to get to be at a place where God is good with me, because I'm a mess up, which I love.
But I'm also hoping that in my mess and in my difficulty, that somehow some of that inspires you to move a little bit closer. Yeah. And that can be the good or the bad.
Okay. Well,
as long as you share it.
Absolutely. But you bring that up. That's a really good point. Because I love the line, you love me at my best, from your song, God Be the Glory. Which, by the way, would it have killed you to put the word to God Be the Glory in the sentence?
Mate.
In the title?
Mate, it was the title of the song.
Who took it out?
Someone from the label told me you can't have two.
Stupid label people. No, it's 5 words. It wouldn't kill you. It's an improper sentence now, but that's a whole nother story.
Since when do you care about proper sentences?
I don't know. I need closure on that. But so I love the line, you love me at my best, you love me in my mess, God, you're so good to me. And so you're one of the people who, again, I believe when you say anything about your faith. And you're right, it's important to talk about the mess and things like that. But like Christian artists, I think they have a really hard time being able to talk about it present tense. A lot of times it's this is what I used to be and I was this now, but now I'm this. And you've always been, I'm this, See,
and that's what I see in you, Wally. I see this man who, yes, you make everyone laugh, which is so important. But you have an insight into things like this that very few men have.
Said no one ever.
Said me a lot. The truth is that it is easy to say, hey, I was caught in sin or pornography or lustfulness or pride or greed or envy, and then Jesus came.
Right.
But the problem is we've made heroes out of men and women that stand on stages, and you never want your heroes to look ordinary.
Right.
But in the gospel, all the heroes are ordinary. They're flawed, imperfect, sinful men dependent upon an incredible God. So I have no problem being the man that goes, hey, I struggled with pornography before Jesus.
Right.
I struggled with pornography with Jesus.
Right.
And till he calls me home, I will probably struggle with lust, envy, greed, malice, jealousy, and envy. But I'm not going to pretend that, hey, Jesus came, everything's rosy in the garden. Discipline is a lifelong process of trying to recognize that Jesus has put all those things to death and trying to walk in that.
Oh, I love it. I mean, and you're right. I think more people can benefit from the honesty, but you have to be willing. It's scary because a lot of times with that honesty comes a penalty. You know,
100%.
And so do you sell more albums if you're less honest?
But you tell me, Wally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah. If you just write the placating song, you'll sell more albums. You know, like in what I do, like with the radio side of it, there are other stations that it's super sugary, saccharine sweet, nothing's ever wrong, but you never feel anything from those people about real life or struggle. It was always. It didn't connect with me, even growing up with like Christian radio. I'm like, this is not. They're perfect, you know, and so when I got here was like, I'm going to do something that maybe feels imperfect, but it's honest.
It's human, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's what connects people to you.
Well, we lost the humanity of who we are in this perfect Christianese culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is, Jesus loves humans.
Yeah.
Like he's fond of humans. So when we start pretending we're less human, like who are we? Mm-hmm. We're just pretending. Dude, I'm too old to pretend.
That's where you get to. You get to a point where like I'm just done.
I'm done with that, and I'm too old not to want the best for people around me. We had a guy, you know, Ben Fuller. You know,
yeah,
Ben,
I love Ben Fuller.
Incredible guy.
Yeah.
Ben's just done 100 shows with us, opening for us on our tours around America, and you know, the last show was the other night, a couple of nights ago, and I climbed up one of those crazy ladders in the theater and it was way up in the heavens, like just looking down. I just wanted to watch him because I'm really proud of who he is and what he does. And the Lord said to me, he said, Darren, Ben's opened for you for 100 shows. Will you let him close the show? And do you know, if you'd asked me that 3 or 4 years ago when we were trying to be headline artists,
right,
probably wouldn't have had the courage to let that big moment in our show go.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
So it came to the second last song. I didn't even tell anyone in the band, told nobody, except our Ben's guitarist, Taylor. And at the end of the second last song, I called Ben out. And we had our whole team pray over him and love him. And then we just said to the crowd, hey, this is Ben Fuller. His future should be brighter, it should be bigger, it should be louder, it should be more than ours. His platform should be greater. And so Ben Fuller is your headliner. And Ben closed the show out.
That's awesome.
But I couldn't have done that when I was unhealthy.
Right, exactly.
It's like prison ministry. Hear me out.
I'm with you.
I love prison ministry. And people always ask me, do you ever do prison ministry? I said, I do. And I said, oh, well, we didn't know that. I said, well, you don't know that because I don't take cameras in with me.
Right,
I don't
exactly.
video it and make it a special and then go, hey, look at me with all these poor sinners in prison.
Yeah.
Because those men and women quite often are much more free than us who are on the outside. It would be more appropriate for them to take their cameras and get a day release and come and film us and go, wow, you're free, you're living outside these walls and you still live like you're a prisoner. So you'll never see me going into a prison filming things for my benefit so I can appear pious or holy.
Sure.
Let your good works be done in secret so that your Father may see them. I got sick and tired a few years ago. It's why I almost quit. I realized most of my reward was here.
Yeah.
And I want what's left of my life to be reward for glory.